Hi everybody and welcome to this week's Tune In Tuesday. Now then, cast your minds back to episode 71. Now if you can't remember exactly, I'll help you and I'll remind you. We went to Constantine Bay to check out the extensive degradation and erosion of the sand dunes. This was due to more frequent and extreme storms during the winter months. What is usually glorious golden rolling dunes was more resembling a harsh and dangerous canyon. This brings with it a multitude of issues aside from the obvious of being incredibly dangerous for all beachgoers. Sand dune systems provide an essential buffer between land and sea, protecting the land against coastal erosion and flooding. But that's not all. In episode 71, I introduced you to the concept of blue carbon. This is the carbon dioxide stored in marine and coastal ecosystems, and this is absolutely not restricted to just sand dunes. It also includes environments like salt marshes, macroalgae, seagrass, and coral reefs. The ocean is hugely undervalued in its ability to store carbon. However, research has found that the Big Blue is responsible for storing up to 1/3 of carbon emissions since the Industrial Revolution. Just to put in a bit of perspective of how effective these blue carbon sinks are at storing carbon, salt marshes have been found to store carbon 55 times faster than tropical rainforests. So it's clear that these ecosystem services are essential and we must be working to protect them, else we'll be paying the ecological price for generations to come. So we knew we had to do something to stop this degradation of such a critical habitat just on our doorstep. We started brainstorming and we knew that we wanted to harness the power of nature to regenerate itself. We didn't want to install a big anthropogenic structure to try and halt this degradation. So, after looking at different options, we opted for a more festive option. Just after Christmas, we put out a call for Christmas trees and were blown away to have 75 trees donated by volunteers and the leftover stock from Trevisker Garden Centre. We then spent the day in the glorious sunshine, hideous hail, burying these trees in the worst affected areas of the sand dunes. The idea behind this is that the natural branched structure of the Christmas trees is thought to be a perfect sand barrier, so as the wind blows the sand around, it slowly builds up around the branches. Admittedly, we weren't sure that this was going to be successful, but as with anything, if you never try, you never succeed. The trees have been left buried in the dune system for the whole of lockdown. But with some of our local community on our daily walks, we've been keeping our eyes on the progress of the project, and we've been lucky enough to slowly watch the dunes gradually build themselves back up again. Yesterday, with a group of volunteers that have been involved from the very beginning and have given so much, we returned to the site, socially distancing, of course. And I think I can speak for all of us when I say that it was kind of emotional to see the success of the project so far. So far, 2,000 tonnes of sand have been retained in the Christmas tree network, so much so that our informative sign had been buried under 2 metres of sand. We spent hours burying a further 65 Christmas trees with the hope that we can continue growing the dunes back to their former glory. These trees were donated again from Trevisker Garden Centre's leftover stock from Christmas, which is an added bonus as it means that the use of these trees in building up a carbon sink has prevented the carbon cost of leftover trees being burnt or put into landfill after Christmas.
So, I've had a saying I've lived by for several years now, that every problem you encounter is actually an opportunity in disguise. So back at Christmas, we had quite a few Christmas trees left over due to, we didn't sell quite enough. But anyway, over the last couple of months, over 3 efforts, we've brought all the extra Christmas trees back to Constantine Beach and put them in the sand dunes. And we've actually saved an entire lump of sand dunes at the end of Constantine. So, live by that one, it's great.
So all that's left to say is a huge thank you to everybody involved for helping make this project the success that it's been, and we really look forward to seeing what more can be achieved now that we've planted the 65 extra trees, and we may even plant some more. We didn't have a big budget, we didn't have to build. As I said at the start, we just had to find a way of harnessing Mother Nature, and she did the rest for us. Now, please, to any beachgoers, if you're venturing down to Constantine Bay, please keep your distance because it's a very delicate system and we need to ensure that it does keep building itself back up again. And of course, this doesn't mean that you can all go out planting Christmas trees willy-nilly in the sand dunes. We've had to really look into this and we've had fantastic support from Cornwall Council and the local community. So thank you again for that. And of course, thank you to all of you for watching, and I'll see you next week.